Priscilla, we're celebrating the 70th anniversary of the Fortune 500 this year. What does it mean to you that Fannie Mae is on the Fortune 500?
It means that we have a responsibility. We play a very large role in the economy. Being on the Fortune 500 list, it's a responsibility to do our job well, to build the trust of the US consumer, and to run the company as safely and soundly so that we're there in good times and in bad times.
I think it is quite an honor to know that we serve a small part of the US, a very important part of the US, but the loyalty that our members have granted to us give us the depth and breadth to be qualified as one of the largest companies in America.
We are truly honored, we're humbled, we're blessed to be part of the Fortune 500 list. It's a huge milestone for us as a company, and we are super excited to join more than 60% of the Fortune 500 who are already our customers on your list.
The Fortune 500 is a very comprehensive grouping of companies based on their revenues. It represents kind of their weight in the economy based on how much they're selling, how much fuel oil they're selling, how many products they're making and selling, how many services they're providing. Number one is Walmart, but then you've got Amazon and United Healthcare and mainly services companies that are dominating the list at this point. It was first published in 1955. In those days, the 500 had quite a different definition than it does today. Originally, it was all companies that made something. GM was number one, GE was in the top 10. There were several oil companies, including Exxon and Mobil and Gulf, that were all in the top 10. So this was a very, very different list than the extremely tech and healthcare heavy listings that we see today at the very top.
I actually don't think of myself in running a Fortune 500 company. I think of this job and the role that I have and basically building the legacy that I inherited. And we've been around for over 140 years. I recognize that I stand on a lot of people's shoulders out there, and I feel a tremendous sense of obligation.
When I was at college, there weren't that many different magazines. There was Time Magazine, Fortune Magazine, and I particularly was interested in your list of 500 largest companies in the world. And I'm old enough to remember when GM became a big deal because they were the first $1 billion sales company. I find it informative, so I don't want to overdo it, but it has been a very positive thing.
Of course, the tech companies weren't included on the list much in 1955. There were a few giants like IBM that were getting started and taking off, but basically they've taken over the list to the point where the most valuable companies are now the Apples, the NVIDIAs, essentially the Magnificent Seven that we keep on hearing about that have taken over such a gigantic weighting in the overall list. Certainly one of the great trends on the list is the rise of female CEOs. To have 50 women on the list, which is 10% of the total, is an extraordinary achievement. Of course, it's still much, much too low, but it's certainly moving the right way.
When you became CEO of Land O'Lakes in 2018, you became the first openly gay female CEO on the Fortune 500.
Represent.
Karen was our cover of our Fortune 500 issue because CVS Health is the number 11 global 500 company in the world. No woman has ever run a company anywhere remotely the size of CVS. We're talking over $300 billion in revenue.
Running a company like CVS Health, we have purpose. And that's really kind of what gets all of us going every day, because we have the purpose of really improving the health of all Americans.
And we also have a big change. Now there are 8 Black CEOs running Fortune 500 companies. In 1955, there were 0. So the first great list was the Fortune 500, and it's got tons of offspring, many of which were launched by Fortune as well.
Well, it's clearly a great honor. It's a recognition of being an important company in the world, and not only the Fortune 500, but best companies to work for and innovation, because for us, trust and innovation and what we do is all part of our story.
Fortune 500 is one of the great brand names in the whole business world. And you get a lot of attention. The higher you are on the list, the more prestigious it is. When I mention that I work for Fortune, whether the person I'm speaking to has any connection to business at all, they usually say, yeah, the Fortune 500, which goes to show the strength and the breadth of that brand.
I'm very proud of it. I'm proud of the work that we do at Fannie Mae, to be there to lead a group of employees so dedicated to what we do every day. And if I could be an inspiration to other young women or young people of color, that's significant to me.